did see Rogue Warriors go for Kalista over Ezreal in Game 1. I don't know if they would want to go for that same thing. I kind of liked when they were playing with the range advantage against JDG. It seems like a good way to go, and we did see Holder get absolutely bullied by Zoom in Game 1, so not going to let that happen once again.
Yeah, the Volibear locked in for the side of Rogue Warriors here. And obviously the Graves is banned. That's what Harrow played in Game 1 and 2. And has looked like consistently the best player on the team. Aside from maybe Lei in the early game of Game number 2. But the Kalista going to come through here for Jungwoo-ji. And we'll see what JDG want to do. I'm expecting JDG to draft a lot more standard here in Game 3.
Exactly. I mean, come on. You pushed your limits in Game 1. We saw something a bit more coherent in Game 2, but I'd still say not good compared to what Rogue Warriors had. This time around, JDG really need to take this seriously and get another win on the board.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you only get to play each team once here in the LPL.
I do want to just highlight the fact that Lee Sin has a 64% win rate in the LPL. You see Lee Sin get a lot of criticism in other leagues, but here, Lee Sin, an amazing pick, not only strong in the early game, but provides some decent playmaking potential in the mid and late game as well.
And you know who's great at Lee Sin? Kanavi is. He's going to lock that one in for himself. And Zoom gets himself the Wukong. This is something that's been banned away from him in Games 1 and 2. So a nice playmaking ultimate, a big team fight ultimate for Zoom, which is exactly how he built his reputation, as being this team fighting top lane.
Surprisingly, Wukong has not been a champion he's looked too hot on, even though stylistically you would think this is where Zoom shines. The thing I like, though, is JDG, as you pointed out, are building towards this strong team fight composition. Zoom back on an Engager where he's thrived. Loken back on an Aphelios, and we've all seen what this champion does. Moving over from Rogue Warriors, they want to brawl, and what more can we ask for from Rogue Warriors?
Nothing. That is all I want from this team. That is exactly why I watch this team. This is exactly why I'm excited about this team. As the set comes on through, I'd love to see it be the set mid once again, but I'm expecting Lei to bring that one to the table. The slight issue, though, is Set was the champion that stood out in my mind as the one that Lei really struggled on.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I kind of expect it to go towards the support position. Doesn't have the best matchup into the Wukong either, so right now, I'm just going to take a guess that we're going to see Volibear top. Volibear obviously looks like he's a lot of very strong lane matchups. We're going to see Set in the support role, and I would expect us to see Haro pick jungle on 4.
Nautilus banned away here from Lei, just in case it isn't that Set support here.
You do have 2 mid lane bans, so it kind of signals that Rogue Warriors want to pick mid on 4, because if you're going to counter pick, right, you could just leave whatever open and then go for that last pick.
Could go for something like a Zoe. It's very safe for the blind pick here, and it's something Ruby's played a ton in the past.
Fits his, his play style of he's more controlled mage playing from a distance.
Yep.
Obviously, also very strong in the early and mid game, which spikes with the rest of Rogue Warriors composition. And okay, so
come on, lock it in.
This would definitely tell us that JDG are taking this serious.
So for anyone at home that didn't watch Spring, I know Bard is popular right now, but do you want to know who popularized this Bard back in Spring? It was Lu Mao. He's going on the Bard this game, and that's how you know it's serious, because this guy is the best Bard in the world.
You know, it's also a good sign for JDG. All the picks they are locking in have a higher than 60% win rate, so also just going towards the strong picks statistically.
And we're going to have a Corki, which goes against your point here with a 43% win rate.
But Yagao looked great on this pick, and we even highlighted it coming into the match. And they've obviously set up for a very strong front-to-back teamfight composition. They have a ton of DPS and burst, but you're right. This was a champion Lei would also go towards sometimes in Spring. I'd say had pretty up or down performances, but I feel like that just goes together with what Rogue Warriors are.
It is going to be this Set jungle, though, which
hey, there's still time for them to switch it around and put the Volibear in the jungle.
That's true, but I don't think it's going to happen. We've seen Set jungle a lot here in the LPL, and I've hated it basically every time. But Harrow, Harrow has been the stand-up player, in my opinion, on Rogue Warriors across the course of this series, so I think that it's reasonable to, wash my brain of previous Set jungles and come in with a fresh mind for Game 3.
Exactly. We haven't had Set jungle in a little bit, so we can refresh everyone's memory, the fact that it's a champion that is very strong in early game duels and also very good for early game dives because of that shield coming out from the Haymaker. So seeing in these sort of situations, the fact that they've drafted this very low-range, melee-heavy bruiser composition, right? You have Blitzcrank, Set, and Volibear along with the Callista. You expect Rogue Warriors to want to find early skirmishes.
You would expect that, and based on game number 1 and game number 2 of this series, I'd expect that whatever they draft. So
that is true.
We should have some early game action coming through here. The other side of the board, though, JDG have a lot of scaling options. With this Aphelios, with this Corki, you expect JDG to play kind of the classic JDG style of slow, methodical.
Exactly. So that's kind of going to be the big distinction here, where I would probably expect Rogue Warriors to focus more on bot lane rather than top, but I think they do have options in both sides because we've seen Volibear's strength in lane. But so Rogue Warriors playing through bot and playing through early mid-game skirmishes. JDG going to take a slower pace, wait for that 2 to 3 item mark. You know, Corki will be online at 2 items. Aphelios wanting those 3 since he's a crit AD carry. But going to play more towards mid and top since you do have that Bard who wants to get around the map more.
We'll see what Lumao is going to be able to do on this Bard pick, because it's something that he built a significant reputation with over the years, and especially in spring 2020. We could have a pick onto Loken here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble going to be used immediately. Pull back in, and well, you said we were going to have early action, Lyric. We've started off the way we mean to go on.
Yep, what a great start for Rogue Warriors. Especially getting the kill onto your Callista is going to be amazing, and even has the Blitzcrank emote.
So the big question I have is, why is Loken face-checking Pixel Brush? Like, what was the goal there? Why?
Listen. After this series, we don't question why things happen. We just accept. Like, I know we're paid to be here to explain things, but just like the people at home, I feel like we are passengers on this journey.
Buckle yourselves in, boys and girls, because we're on a wild ride here with JDG and Rogue Warriors, and it feels like JDG, and especially Loken, have lost their minds just as much as I have. Lumao pulled in by Lei here. Aggressive start to the lane.
Yeah, just Lumao walking up, not caring about anything, and Lei's like, all right.
Lei just asserting dominance to start this lane off here.
Well, now Lumao is kind of asserting dominance back, but I assume Lei's Q is coming back up off cooldown, so he has to watch out. Haro going to full clear towards bot side, so it's going to be bot around that, like, 3:45, 4-minute mark. We can expect to see some action around then, especially if Rogue Warriors can try to keep the lane in a position on their side of the map. Would be interesting. Actually, Lei going to skip Raptors entirely.
I know, Lei's getting pretty low here, taking a huge amount of damage from this duo. And that's one of the things when Calibrum is there. As soon as Lumao gets a stun, it is going to be followed up on.
Yeah, and interesting to see. Actually, Kanavi's the one who's full clearing towards bot side, so both junglers wanting to end up towards bot. Again, if I'm JDG, I don't think you really need early action to happen. I'd rather see Kanavi just kind of shadow, make sure things don't happen, and get to this, like, 2-item mark for the Corki. Player on the package timing as well.
Bit of a trade in the top side as Kanavi not moving down to the bottom half of the map here. After starting on that red, moved up to the top, cleared that out. Now he's looking for a gank. Zoom. Would love to jump in on this one, but Holder playing very respectfully here.
Yeah, and I kind of expected Kanavi to wait for it since the wave is pushing, but maybe feeling like he has enough time to go get that Scuttle Crab and then make the return, since Holder also doesn't have a ward, and you would assume that Zoom knows that he hasn't walked into River to get that down.
And you know what? We're all hoping that Kanavi will make the return. And I'm not just talking about that one gank. I'm talking about this entire split so far. Haro, in the meantime, recognizes that there is no Kanavi here, and that means these chickens are up for grabs.
But Kanavi knows, right? He was just showing on a ward, so also strange that he's just going to head right down, and now Haro gets some vision onto his Krugs, and they're actually looking to make a play.
So Lumao could be in serious trouble right here. He's on the wrong side of this play, or is... Oh! Loken denied! It doesn't matter, though. He still gets on through. Flash comes out as well, and now Lei is going to be caught up by the Graviton. Lumao here to try and find a stun as well. They don't quite have the damage to finish anything off. Haro now the target. Gravitum's going to be on cooldown for another couple of seconds, though. Lei aggressed upon as in goes Kanavi to try and find himself a kill onto Haro as well. Haymaker isn't going to do enough. One more auto, and he goes down for the double.
And overall, at the start, it looked good for Rogue Warriors. Their plan was there, but Loken flashing that E from the set in the end did get him out alive. And then Kanavi, we said he had the ward on Raptors, did see that Haro was there, predicting that he was going to go for that bot play. Great counter gank, and we said that we just want to see Kanavi shadow and make sure that shenanigans don't happen early on. Already doing a great job.
He's doing more than just stopping the shenanigans happen. He's getting the best out of it.
And that was so cool from Lei, flashing in, getting that E, and then Q. We see Haro flash to try and get the E on the Loken, but Loken respecting that, flashing away as well. And then Kanavi following up with this counter gank, does land the Sonic Wave, and we're going to see just has the confidence to go on in. And Lumao as well, flashing to get that auto. And just being able to finish off these kills.
Yeah, Kanavi flashing to make sure that they get that first kill as well. And then the fact that they can turn it into a double kill as well is just the cherry on top of everything else. He's already got his jungle item. And this is, I don't believe he's recalled since that play yet. So we'll see how much he was able to get off the back of this one. But hey, having early kills on your Lee Sin is something no team is ever going to complain about.
Yep, and we are back to a bit of a slower pace. So I don't expect things to stay that way for very long when we have set up how Rogue Warriors composition wants to play out the game. We don't have Herald for another 2 minutes, which will be an interesting timing, but I want to see if Rogue Warriors will want to go towards the Dragon.
Ooh, hook. Going just wide open.
Rogue Warriors do have TP advantage on Holder, so if any action breaks out on bot side, Holder can always be there and Zoom cannot.
But Zoom can interrupt that TP as well if Holder's not careful on where he's able to channel that one. Zoom can just go in with the Cyclone and interrupt. Haro, you mentioned the bot side. We're going to have a 3v3 on our hands here, as you can see both mid laners sparring on the minimap as they wanted to move down. I think the dive is going to be deterred here, as Kanavi spotting them out. Yeah, I think they realize they don't want to fight him right now.
Yeah, and overall, I don't think they really need to. I'd actually like to just see them start the Dragon up anytime. Even if you're just trying to force a fight with JDG at this point, right? We've already mentioned that Holder has a TP advantage. Sure, Zoom has the tools to stop it, but just back off far enough under your turret and try and get that off. You also have the Kalista with the Rend as well, right? So you don't have to fear a steal too much coming out from JDG.
Not going to start the Dragon just yet, though. Kind of just trying to gain control of the area. Is JDG actually going to recall in the bottom lane here?
Maybe he can get a flash.
Hex flash over the wall. Lei not going to be able to make anything happen, unfortunately. Ruby doesn't have any mana, so even if he gets the hook, there's no damage.
Yeah, and he even knows, like, hey, Yagao still had his Valkyrie, so sure you can keep looking for the hook, but you're not going to get a flash anyway.
Oh, look at that. Yagao, the absolute bro, sits on the cannon on 1 HP, lets Lumao come in and finish it off with the stack. You love to see it. That's the teamwork that makes the dream work right there, Lyric.
Also curious, though, just kind of seeing that Haro has blue buff and Ruby doesn't, so that's not teamwork. And, you know, if there's no teamwork, there is no dream.
That's true. So Shrek wouldn't have happened in this kind of duo, because DreamWorks wouldn't exist. We got a hook over the wall here as Lumao just dashes back away again. Kanavi is here to answer as well, and Lei is in trouble right now. Fate's call from Wuji, though, to keep his support safe, but Lei goes back in, somehow survives this one, and it's Holder to grab a kill.
And overall, Rogue Warriors making the right play. Actually, Lei surviving on a knife's edge, but we kept setting up this TP advantage they have, being able to look for this, but Yagao with package.
Oh my goodness. Go over the wall, go for the kill, find Lei. He's not going to go hunting here. He's going to just accept that he can't make it happen.
Yeah, it would.
I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I feel like if the roles were reversed, actually maybe not, because Ruby's not the most aggressive player on Rogue Warriors, but we keep seeing Rogue Warriors looking for these kinds of shenanigans. They do get the rocket grab to pull Lumao in. Then he gets super low. We've already mentioned the TP advantage, so calling Holder down, throwing Lei in to keep Kanavi there. Holder coming out with that ultimate and just securing that first kill.
Really nicely done, and so unlucky for JDG not quite finishing that kill off. But ultimately, Aphelios with no AD items doesn't really do that much damage during these fights, whereas Kalista, just with boots, is going to be in a great spot.
Yeah, now we're going to see... I want to see if teams just opt to trade objectives, but when we've set up Rogue Warriors comp as this early game comp and that JDG will outscale, I don't want to see Rogue Warriors trade. I actually want to see them fight JDG and go toe-to-toe for that Rift Herald.
Well, they're not doing it, Lyric, because Haro has moved over towards the Dragon, and it's going to be the Ocean one to start this one off.
And it looked like they wanted to, but they realized, hey, we're just way too far behind on the play to actually even get there in time to get a fight.
So interestingly as well, Loken is going to be given that Rift Herald. So clearly, JDG are like, look, we need to get this ball rolling. We need to get some gold on our carries. We need to get this Aphelios online.
The thing I don't like about when teams do this, though, is that it just telegraphs where your play is going to be. And it's like, sure, maybe you can look at certain compositions and, like, there's an obvious place where you'd want to drop the Herald for. But this just makes it, you know, guaranteed. And now Haro can keep trying to path and stay around that bottom side and make things happen so no Rift Herald play can come out, right?
To be fair, for now... Well, actually, no, that's not true. I was going to say for now they don't know who it's on, but now Loken has shown on minions. They know who it's on. So, it's not going to matter for that one. We'll see what Haro does about it if he is going to sit around this bottom side. But right now, Loken has an opportunity to just drop it and try and clear these minion waves and just get some tower plays for himself.
Ooh, we see Rogue Warriors once again wanting to be the aggressors. You're facing a Bard, though. He still has a magical journey, so as long as he hovers in front of that terrain, he's fine.
Loken does not have the chance to drop it just yet. There was a nice answer there from Rogue Warriors.
He shouldn't have the chance to drop it anytime soon. I'm not going to say he won't because we don't know what Rogue Warriors are going to do.
Because we're in the LPL. And,
I don't control Rogue Warriors. I can't, you know, make them forcibly go top side and make it possible for JDG to drop that Herald.
Which is good.
Yes, that is good.
Like,
that would be pretty.
That would be a severe conflict of interest here on the caster desk.
It would be a pretty... You know, if I was the scriptwriter, that would be pretty interesting. There'd be a... You know, I might
would
be the...
Rogue Warriors be the winners?
Of this series or the league?
Of the league.
No.
What? How's the script? Oh, V5. The PP God himself.
Like...
The PP Father, the PP Son, and the PP Holy Spirit.
You know, I would want to shake things up and, you know, just kind of flip the league and put like a PLG, VG, LNG on top. Put TF somewhere in the middle and make them go on some kind of dark horse run in playoffs.
Yeah. I would put Vici somewhere up there. I want Coma to do well, man.
Haro is topside, though, so...
He's diving right now. The tower going to be disabled as Zoom keeps them in the play right here. But the tower's back, and Zoom is pulling this one out of the bag. Now 1v1 against Haro as well. Haymaker's going to come through. Oh, the flash!
Let's be honest, that was a beautiful flash coming out from Holder. But, not from Holder, I'm sorry, from Haru. But at the same time... JDG just got so much. They got 1 kill plus a bot lane turret plus full control of the enemy jungle. And not off to a good start when you look at JDG's composition and it clearly outscales.
That was smooth from Kanavi. I don't know if anyone saw that. Kanavi used the dot from his jungle item just to finish that one off. Let's take another look at these side points.
So they go for this. They do disable the turret, but now Holder has no mana and no cooldowns, so not going to do much. Flash just gets instantly deleted. I don't know if that was some kind of like visual bug, but this flash, beautiful.
That was nice. That was really nice from Harry. It was the Q from Zoom and the tower shot hitting at the same time, but the flash obviously... You know what happens when you flash a tower shot, it like takes a second to catch up. Just one of those things, you know, just League of Legends things. But yeah, you're absolutely right. In terms of the trade overall, JDG way ahead on that one, because Zoom pulling out the play on the top side not only looked good and found himself an advantage, in the meantime, that Herald we were talking about was dropped at the bottom side.
It's also been a big discussion in the community lately about drafting champions against Aphelios that want to run into Aphelios. And like, sure, we saw it work even yesterday when G2 did this, that this strategy can work if you can snowball in the early game, especially very suiting to the LPL play style, but when you have an Aphelios against a bunch of champions that need to run into him, and he's winning the early game alongside a Corki, alongside some pretty good frontline, and even shut down with the Bard ultimate as well, this game's not going to get easier for Rogue Warriors.
It's definitely not. We've been talking about this all day, honestly. We've seen so many Kallistas today, how Kallista spikes incredibly hard. 2 and 3 items, she looks so damn strong. But beyond that point, Kallista will really start to struggle once people get tanky.
And looks like Jungwuji might struggle with Lumao and Kanavi looking for this play, but Haro's here as well.
We've got a brawl on our hands. Loken the target. Tempered Fate to just stop everything right here. Stunts across the team here as lays the target. Haro pulled away. Haymaker still available here from the set as Wuji pulls his support to safety. In goes Kanavi, and they take down lane. Now a TP coming through from Rogue Warriors as well. The fight goes on as Harrow will fall. Double kill now for Loken. They're going to turn it into a triple as well. Zoom the one to grab the third kill here, but JDG, they're running away with this.
Aphelios versus a bunch of champions that want to run into him. He is having such a good time. At first, I thought that looked great. Lumao's ultimate locking down both members of JDG. I don't think we're going to see anything here, but
see a bit of damage onto Zoom, but I don't think there's really any follow-up available.
Oh, God. Oh,
I'm going to try for it. Lumao's in trouble, heals himself, but I don't know if that was worth it, Ruby. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it was. Wuji flashes away with his life. I mean, that cost him 3 summoners and then went 1 for 1.
I do want to say, when you've kind of watched the map collapse around you, you've just been farming as a Zoe. That kind of looked like a bit of tilt right there, did it not?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not even necessarily tilt, but it looked like he feels the pressure like, oh my God, I need to make something unbelievable happen. This looked really good for Rogue Warriors at first if Haro could get that E onto both members. So extremely clutch binding coming out from Lumao and good kick coming out from Kanavi as well. And JDG are ahead right now. They have a ton of damage. Aphelios against people walking into him. Another great cosmic binding coming out from Lumao. And Loken feeling the confidence just walking into everyone. And now Holder's left alone just in the middle of 3 members. Not much he can do.
And you know what? Hang on. Holder. All right, see you later, mate. That's going to be him going down. Harrow now the target as well. Oh, dear. This seems to be... Oh, hang on. That's a big haymaker. But the Temper Fate is going to ruin everything. Harrow will go down as Lumao's finishing him off on the blue buff. Showstopper stops nothing. Lumao gets away with his life. There's a Honey Fruit to boot as well. And Lei is not going to be able to find the hook, although Loken is looking juicy right now.
Look, Munch, let's put this in perspective for people who maybe are just tuning in because it is, you know, early in other places in the world. Rogue Warriors are the type of team who, despite being down 4K gold and pretty much being out of this game, are going to continue to look for these action plays. They're going to keep looking for engages and finding fights going forward. So this could be a quick game, but also that play style does always present an opportunity for this game to turn upside down.
It really, really does. Like, if you missed game number 1 of this series, we saw Rogue Warriors fall very far behind very quickly, but did that stop them team fighting? No, it did not. They kept that ball rolling anyway. Granted, it was rolling against them, but they fed the fire.
One thing I want to say that I like about Rogue Warriors, especially with you highlighting the Kalista earlier on, is that we saw the LNG pick the Kalista and not play proactively around it, which, you know, feels like it goes against the purpose of picking Kalista. Rogue Warriors have tried to make plays bot lane both games they picked it.
Rogue Warriors feel like a team that has a coherent knowledge of like how to play these comps that they're drafting. It's just a matter of consistency. Pull onto Lumao might just set up the fight for them. Lumao does finally go down. They might be able to answer with Horror, but Zoom being knocked up as well. They're turning this one around, and Rogue Warriors, we just said it, when they find the fight, they will go for it. Now Loken is pretty lonely over here, but the Graviton keeps him safe.
And I don't think Lumao is the player that should be face-checking brushes on your team. You do have this tanky Wukong in the top side, as well as Kanavi, who probably shouldn't either, but at least he has some safety coming out from that W.
And it does bring up the question of, like, look, sure, JDG, you're 3,000 gold ahead right now, but when your carries are both late-game carries that spike heavily on a lot of items, and you don't have those items, should you really be fighting?
Let's also point out that Rogue Warriors have a Blitzcrank, so no matter scaling and win conditions, I feel like Blitzcrank is always that X factor who presents that extra win condition of like, well, if I hit my Q in a good scenario, we still win.
Also, they've got the Ballista combo, right? So even when Blitzcrank, you know, uses his Q, uses his E, uses his R, usually that's the end of his fight. But with Kalista, he even has extra AoE CC to go with.
And even though we're pointing out these conditions that Rogue Warriors can execute on, like, let's be frank, this game is still very JDG favored, not only from a team perspective, but obviously from a draft perspective. These are just some of the tools that Rogue Warriors can rely on to keep finding ways back into the game.
We're trying to highlight how the underdogs can come out on top here today, because let's just remember that JDG, they're the spring champions. They are heavy, heavy favorites coming into this series. The fact that Rogue Warriors have a game already is a surprise in of itself. Yagao will be able to walk away. He's got the package, so he's completely safe here. But now in game number 3, you're absolutely right. There are ways for Rogue Warriors to win this game, but a lot of that revolves around getting themselves a lead during this mid game.
And I guess that's the exciting thing, is typically when we see early game comps against late game compositions, actually I'm going to slow down because Haro is running in.
Lay doesn't quite find himself the hook though. That means that the play is going to be deterred in the end. Bear in mind, Haro has this Rift Herald, so there's a potential for a play somewhere on the map. Both tier 1s are remaining on either side for JDG here.
But as I was saying, when you have like such a clear composition like advantage on the side of JDG going forward, it'd typically be pretty clean cut on how Rogue Warriors don't have options. But the fact that they do have the X Factor in the Blitzcrank, I think presents a really cool like dimension to the game where it's like, hey, shenanigans are always possible.
And you know what? They've got the exact same kind of X Factor in a Zoe as well. Zoe, one of these champions that the right trouble bubble hits with a follow-up, someone's going to get one shot. Even in the late game, like Aphelios doesn't build much defensive stats.
And let's be honest, there are certain teams, not to kick any other teams that aren't in this match, but if a team like EDG was in the situation where they have an early game comp and kind of fall behind, you don't expect much to happen because of how EDG play the game. But when it is a team like Rogue Warriors, you know that they're going to continue to be the aggressor, so it's like, cool. They are the team to give this kind of X Factor pick to.
Zoom's doing a really, really good job this game as well on the Wukong. It's something that we said coming into this game, like, this is not really a pick that Zoom is known for, despite the fact that it should fit his style. But this game, he's looked great on the
right.
Wukong.
He was, sure, we saw him getting bullied out in early trades, but he never fell behind in CS. He actually accrued CS advantages when Holder was making TP plays across the map, and now getting extremely fed. And his ultimate is just going to completely delete Zhong, Wuji, or Ruby if he can get on top of them.
And really interesting to see yet another different Volibear build coming out in that top lane. This time it's the Iceborne Gauntlet first. We are still very much in early days of what the correct build is for the Volibear.
It's also interesting because, ooh, Lumao's ult is interesting.
Wuji. This could be massive if they can follow it up. The answer is no, though. They can't get in on this one. Zoom gets 2 knockups with the Cyclone. It's going to be pulled in, but Warrior Troops gets him back out to safety. Lay now the target. Fate's Call just about keeps him safe. But ultimately, they've done what they needed to. They've gotten themselves the Drake.
Like, JDG did what they needed to, but I also feel like they were way too hasty to pull the trigger because you're ahead. You have the damage now. We have the 2-item spike coming out from Corki. We just talked about how strong Zoom is. Why do you need to pull the Bard ultimate, and especially the Wukong ultimate, so early? Get on that Dragon first, get them in a closer proximity to you, then find that engage. Can you imagine how they turn that into kills, being able to turn that into a Baron so early on? But I guess we do know JDG as the safer team, the less risk, like oriented, risk-verse team. So they probably are extremely happy just to pick up the neutral objectives.
Yeah, I can agree with that one for sure. But one thing that I feel obliged once again to mention is we do have an Aphelios here. And this is 10.12, as you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen. This is not 10.13. So the damage to neutral objectives, or more, the chakrams not falling off on neutral objectives, still very much the case. What I'm trying to say here is, with an Aphelios, JDG can very much rush a Baron if Rogue Warriors lose vision control.
And once again, double AD carry composition. And last game we talked about whether the Graves counts or not. Corki definitely counts, so JDG can have a very easy time if they get on that Baron. They also have a way to shut out Haru with that ultimate coming out from the Bard. No, don't know if you'd want to risk it, and we know JDG's not the type of team to risk it.
JDG are a team that doesn't like to take much in the way of chances and risks. Despite what they drafted in game number 1, despite the way they've been playing this series, like, I'm going to stick to what I know of this team. And I feel like, at their core, they are still the same JDG.
It's weird because I feel like our description is actually talking about JDG last split, to where this split, they have liked risk quite a lot, whether it's in draft or on the Rift.
I just wonder how much of it is, like, calculated risk and how much of it is lack of cohesion this split. You know what I mean? Holder's in trouble here, and Lumao is going to try and turn it into a kill rather than just a bit of damage. Holder flashing to safety. Zoom following, but Guardian Shield not enough. Once again, JDG, they may not find any kills, but they do find an objective.
And this was them spending the time to give Loken blue buff rather than just rotating over right away. Not sure if I agree with that call, rather than just having Loken there to deal the DPS, but they get the objective they want.
Yep, they still got the tower, and they still have complete control of this map right now. 6,000 gold lead in favor of JDG. And here's the thing, right? Ladies and gentlemen, if you've missed the rest of this series, let me just fill you in.
Oh, Jesus.
Rogue Warriors, sure, they may be losing right now. They may be behind in gold, but you know what? I'm never going to count either of these two teams out again in this series, unless Wuji gets caught by a Tempered Fate and Lei gets one shot in the meantime. But the Flash and the Fate's Call does keep the team safe.
Oh.
Yagao following up here and has a lot of damage. Goodbye, Wuji. Zoom able to finish that kill off. That could be a potential Baron, honestly.
How unfortunate. You're not going to count Rogue Warriors out unless the two things that just happened on our screen happens. Almost like you formulated that opinion after the fact, Munchables.
It was during the fact, actually, not afterwards. It was mid-fact.
Was it?
Baron's going to go down here. Okay, maybe I can count Rogue Warriors out.
If there is a time to count Rogue Warriors out, I feel like you picked a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I always count myself as...
Oh, Holder, though. I'm also probably going to count him out as well.
Well, he can disable this tower for a short period, so he's got that going for
jump
him.
away.
The thumbs up coming through from Zoom. He knows that... I mean, Zoom's not even taking damage in this matchup here. Lumao going to arrive, get himself a assist at the last possible second, but...
Poor Holder.
JDG, they're having fun here. I think that they are aware of how far ahead they are.
Yeah, JDG now should just be able to continuously group up his 5. They have a long-range engage tool on the bar.
Oh my god. A Kentucky Fried chart there at the bottom of the screen. 96.7%. The Colonel hasn't given up, though.
You're right. So
what
he
the Colonel
doesn't
is saying,
count Rogue Warriors out.
What the Colonel is saying is that there is a chance here. There's a 3% chance that Rogue Warriors can make the miracle happen.
Hey, Haro's looking for that 3%.
Believe in the 3%, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not talking about skimmed milk here. I'm talking about Lei flashing forward for a play. Doesn't find the hook, though. Holder's coming in behind them. Tempered Fate, though, is kind of going to disjoint this engage. And Loken flashes away to safety. He's going to keep himself alive. They can't do anything to him.
I mean,
look at his damage.
Aphelios against melees who want to run into Aphelios, so...
Run over Aphelios. They jumped it.
They did, but it did nothing. Ultimately, though, Kanavi did go down, but...
If Lamau can actually 1v1 Wuji, this is... I mean... Okay, well... Look, Wuji can't do anything. Zoom is going to chase him down with the Cyclone.
I think the game's over, Munch.
I think you might be right, because that's 2 inhibs falling and a whole boatload of minions charging into the base here. 15-6 on the scoreboard. And this has been a bit of a smacking here.
It's been an experience.
Game number 3. Yeah, this has been an emotional roller coaster, I think is the fairest way to describe this series. JDG do it in the end, though. The little thumbs up from Lei at the end. And there we go, 2-1 to JDG.
Ultimately, I mean, we had 2 very decisive games from JDG, especially this last game where it finally felt like they put together a draft that is a bit more meta, makes a bit more sense. So